I thought it was down here.
Okay, Lois?
The
Centennial.
Merced City was having its 100th centennial, and they were choosing the people who would be the
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshals.
Grand Marshal. I'm sorry.
For the parade.
They thought they'd have this grand parade with the Grand Marshals, two of them. They were gonna have a male and female, just two of them. And they had a difficult time trying to find out who they could choose and how they would choose. But they asked the different organizations in town who they would recommend to be outstanding leader. And my goodness, it showed up Gladys Fitchett very often. Her name just appeared half a dozen times in different organizations. They recommended Gladys Fitchett. And Mother had just been retired for a couple of years,
Yeah.
not too long. People still knew her. In fact, when they chose her, she was like typically stunned. Me? Why would they choose me? She was just overwhelmed with gratitude and appreciation. It just was thrilled. Then she said, I'm to dress in the period of 100 years ago, what would I wear? And we went through her closet and couldn't find anything, but I found a costume lady down on, out near, I don't know, somewhere out on towards Yosemite.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Up
She
by
had
the
a
Frozen
costume
Cafe.
shop, and I
Yes.
took Mother out there. And that lady just took Mother by the hand and just fixed her all up with a hat, blouse, skirt,
There she
everything.
is.
Just had everything. Mother couldn't believe it. This lady had all of this proper clothes that she didn't, she had put it on and she just loved it. It fit her perfectly. And we got home, she just kept thinking, you know, she looked really grand. She just
She
was so
did.
pleased.
She did.
She got ready for the parade and she was so excited. She looked so pretty. And then she said, I'm going to have to sit up in this car. She couldn't believe it. It was just very exciting for her. We got there and the other man was Dr.
Fountain.
Who was it?
Fountain.
Bill Fountain.
Fountain, yes, Dr. Fountain,
Wow,
but I
yeah.
forgot. Dr. Fountain, an old friend also.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The
right.
two of them in this decorated truck. And she got in, she just looked wonderful. But I wanted to follow her along as she went along slowly in the car. I ran along the sidewalk. I was much younger. I ran along the sidewalk, but you know what I heard? I heard, there's Mrs. Fitchett. Hello, Mrs. Fitchett. There's Mrs. Fitchett. And all along the way from the, down here by the park, all the way across the
Pretty neat.
tracks,
Yeah.
over to 67th, 12th,
Yeah.
13th Street, to where it ended. I could hear people calling out Mother's
Mrs.
name.
Fitchett.
Yeah.
Waving to
Over
her.
and over, waving and saying, that's
Yeah.
Mrs. Fitchett.
I
Hello,
remember
Mrs.
her.
Fitchett. And Mother was smiling and she just, it was
Her
a
wave.
wonderful day.
Yeah.
She had a wonderful, wonderful day.
Yes, she did have a time. Now, did Annie Kitty come that day?
No,
Was
we
Annie
didn't
Kitty-
even have tapes like that in those days.
No, I thought she had come to stay with Mother on that day that she was out there in the
I
parade,
don't
but she
think so.
wasn't.
No.
A lot of people that knew her well, like Agnes Buttle and
Yes,
some of the
yeah.
others,
Maybe-
followed that
Maybe
truck
that was the,
all the way down to
thinking
the
about-
end to
yeah.
meet Mother when she got off
Yes.
the truck.
I'll be
To
darned.
congratulate her again. It was very exciting for her.
sure.
But for her to come from a little 16 or 15-year-old girl, coming
That's right.
from a little town of Ripon, not knowing a soul here in Merced, to end up her days as the Grand Marshal of Merced.
That's pretty,
wonderful.
pretty
Pretty
awesome.
nice.
And to have the
Yes.
people all along the way, blocks,
her.
several
Know
miles,
who she was.
calling out her
Yes, she
name.
was, Yeah.
And lots of them were probably students of her at one time or
Oh, yeah.
Well,
another.
certainly
oh
they
yes,
were.
many of
They
them
knew her
were her
well.
students.
Yes.
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 They just were
Remember
delighted
her.
to see her, yes. And you could tell all of them were fond of her. It's just a great feeling of
Great
love
way to
and
go out.
affection.
Now, when did she finish at Weaver as a teacher? What years
Oh,
was it?
58, a
I don't
teacher?
know, maybe
That was
52.
56.
Okay, as
Or
a teacher,
55,
56. So she
56,
started in
56.
39, 38 or 39 at Farmdale.
Right.
Yeah.
She taught all those years
Yeah.
at the
So-
Weaver school at the
And then
district
too,
house.
Sarah, she went around, like Elma said, to all the different schools.
Oh, well, yeah,
And she worked with the teachers
That's
in the
right.
classrooms.
Right.
And she got to know the classes
All
that
over
the
the
children
county.
knew her.
yes.
Even though she may not have known their names, they knew her.
Yes, they
So,
were.
so many people knew her when she went down that long road
Oh,
as a
sure,
grand marshal.
that's right,
Many people.
that's right.
Wonderful.
But just think of
It
those
was
years
a
she was in the
wonderful day.
classroom and how many children she met
Yeah.
in all that time, and by then, many of them were obviously adults.
Yes,
They,
oh,
and they had
yes.
children
Yeah,
too, you
right.
know? We've all been down that
It's
road, looking at all our kids that were
Okay.
kids and now adults, and we have their kids. So,
Let's
yeah,
take a break.
Yeah, let's
That's it.
take a break, we've been about an hour.
That's
That's
good.
Isn't it, Ron, about an hour?
All right.
wait a minute, get the light on, okay.
We're ready to run.
Yeah, go ahead.
We want to transfer now a bit to what our lives were like on the farm, because that's where we live right now.
That's right,
And I don't remember the specific incident, but our father at that time was working at Golden State, which is now known as Foremost.
yes,
One of his jobs was, I don't know exactly what he was doing there, but he was handling bottles, milk bottles, not milk cartons, but milk glass bottles.
Yes,
You don't see those anymore. They're all gone.
yeah.
Very common thing to have milk delivered in, was a milk bottle. Long neck, square body, or round sometimes.
Round body, yes.
He
Round
was
body.
working and reached up and grabbed this one bottle in his left hand, and it was cracked, and a shadow in his hand when he reached for it, and cut 2 or 3 ligaments in his hand right here. Made his fingers unoperable, because ligaments in here are like rubber bands lots of times.
sure.
Once they snap, you cannot put them back together. And they brought it home in the truck that day, as we reported earlier, with his hand all bandaged up. He came into the house and told my mother, "I've cut my hand, I've been fired.
Yes, ma'am.
I cannot work anymore." Just right in the middle of the 1929 crash, the depression was taking place. We had cows to milk. One thing the doctor said, you know what? Milking those cows might be the best thing for the hand you could do. So I just said, okay, we're gonna have cows and we're gonna get more cows. And they did. They got a few more cows.
Yeah.
We had, I think we had 12. We moved that along with a horse.
Oh, the
Called
horse.
Nellie. They bought a few more cows, but mother and dad were out there every day. They were milking at least twice a day, at least 20 cows a day by hand. For a long time. I don't say a long time, maybe 2 years, 3 years. Then later on, they got a milking machine made by De La Val, which was a brand new thing at that time, to help milk the cows with milking machines.
Yes, I
With
remember
suction
that.
cups and put that on the whatever. Mother and dad did that, and Raymond, mother would come on and strip it afterwards. And the cow got through with the milk and would see, but through process, you take the bulk of milk out with the machine hooked onto each one of the nipples, and then after that was off, then you had to go strip and take the rest of the milk out. Raymond's always very good at that. I could never do that worth a darn. Mother could do it, Raymond did all the stripping. I was not very good at it. I just could not get that working right, I don't know how, anyway. But we lived on the farm. for
That
almost
was
8
the
years.
income we had for a while, was the milk, that mother and daddy worked so hard to do. That was the income,
That
that's
was
the only
income
job
we
you
had,
could
was
have.
30 gallons of milk a day. I think we reported that earlier, the fact that,
Yes,
I don't know how much milk was paying for in those days, it wasn't a lot, I'm sure of that. Certainly wasn't enough to cover the rent and the food for 9 people, whatever, at that time. So grandma chipped in $25 a month because that was the rent on the property at the time. She literally paid for it, but the milk had to pay for the food that we needed to sustain us. We couldn't raise or buy the food we had. Didn't
right,
have any money to speak of, you know.
no,
It was tough going. But my father started picking up some odd jobs here and there, where he could work. Nothing steady.
and that's really where you two boys began to really work on that farm, you were getting old enough to do a few things out there.
Raymond and
again.
I,
Yes.
one of our jobs after school was always get the cows in the barn.
That's right.
3 o'clock, 3:30, because we started milking at 5. We had to have them in there,
Yeah.
and my father would get the feed out. Raymond and I'd go out there and we'd run the cows, bring them into the garage, into the barn, get them into the stanches properly, in the properly placed. and then make sure they're all locked in, and then he'd start milking. And I think he would, I'm not sure I don't mind he ate supper. We would go in the house, eat supper, whatever, you know. By 8 o'clock that night though, we'd already hear that whistle.
Yeah,
Get in there! We knew it was time to run, no matter what we were doing, we always listened to the radio at that time.
that's right.
No TV, of course. Radio was a big thing. Listen to the radio. We'd hear that whistle. Get out here right now. We better do it within minutes. You better be out there. If you weren't, you can storm in the house. Get us. Yelling, cussing us. Get the hell out there right now. You know. We get out there. We'd scrape all the manure off the gutter, clean it all out, sweep it up,
And wash it down.
and then they make you go back in the house. By that time, the program we wanted to watch was over with.
Yeah.
We had to wait till next week and we could see it by then, you know. Anyway,
So after the cows, we had, how many years did we have the herd before?
we were there for, I remember there was 5, we moved out when I was 13, 18 years.
We didn't have the
8 years,
cow,
I
we
think.
didn't have the cat, we did not have the herd that long. How
No, we
long
did
we
not.
have the herd?
Why? Because at that time,
About 5 years, I think we had them.
something like that, they found out that tuberculosis was transferred into milk.
Right.
This was a nationwide thing.
Oh,
Department
absolutely,
of
yeah.
Agriculture found out, that's why they decided to test. The cows could be tested whether they had TB or not.
Yeah.
And every county had to do this, report it to the state and on to the federal government besides with. But anyway, the first year they came to it tested, we lost 2 cows. That's okay, that's not too bad. Of course, by that time, Raymond and I knew all the names of all the cows.
Oh, yeah.
We had Pat and Cheney.
Yeah.
you know,
Gertie.
Yes.
Gertie, we had them all
Randall
named,
and
you know.
Baldy, yes.
And Baldy, I forget, we might have lost Baldy, I'm not sure. Anyway, we lost 2 cows that time. It was a yearly test.
That's right.
The next year they came around and tested again. I think that yearly we lost 5. 5 out, now we've lost 7 cows out of a herd of 30, almost 30%. And it was a disaster for our family because my father came in that night after they found out the test was gonna be, what the results were. We had a family meeting at dinner time. We all sat there in a circle, my mom and dad around the table, and he announced them, we've lost our herd. We will not be able to do this anymore. We're gonna have to go somewhere else to work for someone else. With nobody, up until that time, we'd already taken a rent on 40 acres of figs and 60 acres of property.
That's right.
Thought, man, oh man, I was so thrilled at that, we're gonna have 100 acres, all of our own. Can you believe, 100 acres, God, wonderful thing. Mother and father were gonna build a little house, a little knoll on the property we had there, you know,
Yeah.
all shut down. When the tuberculosis came through with that test, those things are all gone. No longer could we do this. That was decided, about that time, I guess it was decided that we were gonna have to, we would move somewhere. In the meantime, I think Mother was teaching already at Farmdale at that time, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
don't
No.
know, she was
No.
not, that was in about 37,
No.
38, and she didn't start till 39. She was not teaching,
At
but
that time.
that's why she had to go back to work or we were all gonna starve to death.
Yeah, we
Well,
were
we
beginning,
were still living on the farm when
That's
she, when
right.
she went to
Yeah.
San Jose
yeah.
to
Yeah.
take that summer
That's
school
right.
course to get her,
To Santa Cruz, yes,
Santa
right.
Cruz, yeah.
get her,
Renew her credential and
Yeah.
get some
To
education,
work on
because
it.
she knew she was gonna go back to work.
And that was the time because my
Yeah.
father, we lost a herd, we know like,
That's right, 37.
we're gonna have to move, but we need an income of some sort, which
That's
we did
right.
not have. Yeah,
We
I
didn't-
found that he had great expectations. Boy, he expected you to do it. You better get it done. It wasn't no
That's right.
fooling around. You know, it was just seemed that way to me all the time.
and Raymond, you know.
Hard working. He always worked hard. He always seemed to be working hard. The years that I used to work with him when he was working at that Merced Dairy and Ice,
You're right.
later in his life, I would go down and work with him in the evenings. And I could see him pick up a 10-gallon can of milk. Just pick it up and dump it in the great big vat.
That's
And
right.
he must be about
That's
20
right.
cans or so he'd go through. And amazing how strong that man
Great
was.
big vat.
A
That-
huge
He was
thing.
doing the bottling for them then, wasn't
Oh,
he?
he's bottling for them, yes.
He
That's what I-
pasteurized and bottled.
Pasteurized, that's right.
Pasteurized,
Into
yeah.
the vat.
Pasteurized was putting all this in the big
Yeah.
vat.
It was a
To
big
bring the
vat.
temperature up enough to kill the bug, kill any bacteria that's in there.
About
That's
hundred and thirty-two for 30 minutes is what we used to run it. And then you'd pump it into, then we'd have to bottle all that milk.
Yeah.
And they had glass
Yeah,
bottles, you
right,
know, oh.
Then you had to
God.
cap it.
Hours and
And
hours.
what were you
of
doing
time.
down there, Raymond?
Well, I would set the bottles on the bottling machine. I would set the bottles on the bottling machine. Sometimes it'd be quarts and half gallons, and sometimes we'd do pints and gills.
All
But
glass.
they had a tool that you could remove. You pull it out, put another one in, and that's the size for the quarts. Another one would be the size for the half gallons, another would be the size for the pints. Sometimes we started bottling some milk in the paper containers.
Yeah.
Okay, the cartons.
Cartons, paper cartons, they're like a megaphone, they're that shape, triangular shape.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
We put some milk into those as well. But that was a long process. We'd get in there, I'd go down there probably about, 7 o'clock, and I wouldn't get back out of there until about 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
At least.
And working in that thing, helping him.
Were you in
as he-
school too?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, and helping him with his with the bottling of the milk.
How much did you get paid, Raymond?
I didn't get paid anything for that.
Really, for free?
For free. Well, I'll tell you what, when Mrs. Santee found out I was doing it,
Oh,
she just got all upset.
You're damn right.
And she told me, well, how long have you been doing it? And I told her, she said, you come with me. She took me over to the office, she gave me a check for $60.
oh my
And she
God.
said, what are you gonna do with that? I said, I'm gonna use it to go to school. I know, something like that. But I
remember
mean,
this,
he was a great hard worker. And
you always had a job for us, you know?
always
I
did.
never asked for a job in my life until I was out of school on my own. First job I made an application for was when I worked with the biolab.
Yes,
I might
yeah.
have had a job at Mercer Dairy, at the irrigation district, I might have had to make an
Yes.
application there too. But other than that, he
Yes.
always had a job for us. I
Oh,
remember when I wanted to play basketball
right.
when I was a senior. And I was signed up for it. So I told him, Dad, I want to play basketball. How the hell are you gonna do that? You're gonna be down here. I need you down
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know.
In the afternoons, you gotta be down here. Help them with getting the milk started. Who's gonna make the pickups in the afternoon to bring the stuff in? I was 16 or 17. One of my jobs was to go out with the truck and pick up from the various farms and bring back the 10-gallon
Well,
cans,
Yeah.
a whole big truckload of back into, he and I, they would unload it and put it in the vat later on that night, you know?
He had you driving out to Trinidad's out up towards that
We
one.
went up to
Another
Planada.
one was out of Dibley's way out here in and Planada outside
That's
La
right.
Grande.
That's right.
And driving out there hauling, bringing the milk in,
I
so you
would do
could,
that, I guess during the school year,
right,
I don't know who did it in the morning times. He might have done it himself,
He
I
may
really
have.
don't know. But I never got paid for that I can recall of, you know,
you never got paid
Crazy.
for that.
you know?
well, didn't you work for Weaver?
Oh,
Didn't
yes.
you just work
Well,
between?
before that,
Before
he
that,
went to
oh,
Merced
yeah.
Dairy and Ice, he
Oh, yeah.
worked for Weaver, didn't he?
early
Right.
on,
Yes.
one of the
Right.
first jobs he had after we left the farm, he went to work for Auntie and Uncle Bob.
That's right.
They had a grade A dairy,
Right,
which would mean that was the top grade you get in raw milk.
They had jerseys, did they have
They had
Jersey
Jersey
cows?
cows,
Yeah,
yes.
that's good producers,
Great little farm. My father
Free.
went to work for them out there.
yes.
One of our jobs, Raymond and I, we had to deliver the bottles of milk at night.
yes.
We,
the
mother would
houses.
take us out at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon after school, ate our supper and all, went out there, we'd wait at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, the road was ready to go. We'd have 8 or 9 cases of milk to be delivered that night. Raymond would ride on one side on the running board, on one side of the truck, I'd be on the other side. We'd ride around the neighborhoods, jump off, take the milk up, drop it up, bring the empties back, put them in the truck, away we'd go, right?
We did that,
That's right,
and
we
our
did.
father would drive the truck, he knew what the route was and
Yeah,
so
of
on.
course.
Absolutely amazing.
Did you ever get paid for that?
Yes.
Oh, no, you never got
We
paid.
got paid for
You
that.
did, Uncle?
I remember we get back and Uncle Bob would always sit there waiting, Raymond, he'd give us a dime apiece.
Something like that.
That's what we get, 10 cents. Thrilled us to death. Man, oh man, we're making money here, you know, 10 cents.
You talked about the, testing the
Yes.
milk from the dairies. That still goes on today. Ralph's drivers that are driving his trucks for milk transport,
I'm
they
sure they
all
do.
have to know how to test the milk when they pick it up at
Yeah.
the
They test
dairy.
it before it goes, it's
Before
right.
it goes in the truck, they have to test, and if there's someone that has bacteria or any kind of thing, So you can't even use that milk. And sometimes he's had to dump it, but that started with our dairy, those
Those
years.
years.
that's
Yes.
testing the milk.
That's what it
and
started, yeah.
test. So,
Exactly.
so I never was asked to do any hard work. I guess Vi did things in the
We
house,
do, yeah.
I guess. And
Yeah.
I was in the 4th grade when we moved into town, and I was expected to do the housework and help with the laundry. I know I had to do that. Those were the things that I did, but we had a lot of time to play. Sarah and I did a lot of playing in our playhouses and things like that. When we were on the farm, I remember things like walking home from Farmdale School,
Right.
and I remember that when Grandma got sick, we were out there. I remember my brothers had rubber guns, and
Oh,
I
yes.
remember avoiding those.
The rubber guns were the vein of our lives.
Say, Sarah.
I mean, those boys would chase us and they'd shoot each other, but and mother always made rules.
People would
You
not know what
boys
you're
do
talking
not
about,
put
you
any
know?
knots in those rubbers and those guns, because that you cannot hit the girls with that. If it doesn't have a knot in it, it's all right, but don't put a knot in it
I know.
and shoot those girls.
But
I
that
need to
hurt.
explain what they're talking about, rubber. The rubber was for inner
In
tubes.
their tubes, that's right.
Automobile tires had
The
tubes
inner
inside.
tubes,
We take the old tube, we cut some little strips out of there,
that's
and
right.
make a bracelet, so to speak, you know? You ought to think of it, a rubber band. We'd stretch that out, the rubber band, on a device, and we hold it in place with a clothespin at the other end.
Clothespin,
Yes.
yeah.
So it really made them good, you tie a knot in them first,
That's
and then
right.
you stretch it out.
Those were
You could fire
vicious.
You could fire those from here across what? You'd have hurt somebody over there.
Oh, that's right.
We did, and we avoided
We would
that.
chase those
so-
sisters all over the place, those little tenements with those rubber guns.
We were so little, and you and Tommy Mayer, Tommy had his pinto horse, and he'd bring that down, and then he'd run through the grapevines and all that backyard with his horse, and chasing Bob and Raymond, there was too darn much fun out there with that. That was in
We-
between times of playing, of
We
work.
invented a machine gun.
Oh, that's right.
We had a long board, then we had notches in here.
That's
Every rubber band would have a different notch in, but under that, we'd have a piece of rope. So you pull it up
Right.
like that, it would start releasing them one at a time. It would shoot like crazy.
They were
Oh,
awful.
my
We had-
God.
Oh,
yeah.
They
goodness.
were chasing.
Yes.
That, I remember that distinctly. Yes,
How could we not have?
I remember that, I was saying earlier, I remembered that Bob had a horse that he tried to, and he made me afraid of the horse. So I said to my dad, I'd like to go out in the field with, you were quarantined at that time, you know, and so we could do it, but it was in the winter, but
Yeah,
and I said, I want to go with Bob out in the pasture with the horse. Oh, okay. So whoop, up on top of the horse I was. I'd never been on a horse in my life, and I was absolutely scared. Bob said, are you shaking? I said, yes, I'm cold. Well, I was shaking because
You were
I was
scared.
afraid of the horse. But it cured me. I wasn't afraid of horses from then on. But that's all I remember. I remember having our dinners together. It seemed to me we had dinner together most every
Oh,
day.
yes.
Oh, always
Oh,
had
yes.
dinner
Mother always
together.
fixed
Always.
dinner.
Always.
And then Sarah and I would argue over who was going to wash and dry the
Who's
dishes.
That was more when we moved to 21st Street.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
I didn't have
do it
any
on
of
the
those
farm.
jobs out
there.
Not on the farm, we didn't.
No.
I didn't
Well,
do
but
it.
I
Lois
did the
Lois
dishes.
and I did the dishes.
Bob
Lois,
and I
yes.
did the dishes.
They did, we did not
I
do
was
the
supposed to
dishes.
do mine, but I always found that I was ill and not well. I didn't
Lois
feel
and
good.
He's
We
always,
I remember many times Lois and I would be sitting there doing the dishes,
yeah,
and we start to sing.
yeah,
And we take parts. She'd sing. We have duets together. We would sing together
Yeah.
on some crazy song, you know.
The interesting thing is,
yeah.
probably the reason that we all get along so well, that our brothers were such good-natured fellas. Bob was never one to have an argument
No,
with at all. He was just
No, never
always
did.
so good
No,
about playing.
no.
Because I was closer to him.
That's
it was-
right.
I never had any.
That's right.
I don't remember ever, one time that I was hit by the rubber gun, once, that was all. I really let him have it. And I was the oldest, I really did, and I never had a problem after that.
Well,
But I wanted to remind you about the TV.
Yeah, I thought
When they
that.
tested the cows, they also decided maybe we better test the children. They had been drinking the
Oh,
milk.
that's right.
Oh, that's
We went
right.
down to the county hospital and got behind a machine, and they took a picture of our lungs, and let us know that both Sarah and I had TB.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I didn't know
yes,
that,
we both
Lois.
had TB.
No
Oh,
kidding.
you did?
Uh-huh.
What did you do then?
Well, nothing.
Nothing.
We were over it by, we had been very ill. I had been ill 3 years before, in the fifth
Oh.
grade. I kept having a lump in my neck, and that was one of the reasons you have a lump in the neck, it's because you have TB. It's
Oh,
a swollen gland here that's
yeah,
filled with TB. That stayed with me for a year, and then one day I had a terrible coughing spell,
And it went away.
and it came out, and I was getting well, and after that, I didn't have the flu any longer. I actually had been having TB the whole time.
And Sarah did.
Wow,
I had evidence of it, yes.
yeah.
Still
you
do to
had
this
it.
day.
You had had it, but you
Yes,
didn't know
yeah.
Lord.
I don't remember anything about being terribly ill. I mean, I was always ill, but I don't remember being any terribly ill.
Isn't that interesting?
But it must have been just about 2 years. I remember always having colds, always being sick in
But
the winter.
TB was big then, remember?
Yeah.
They
That's
put
right.
people in special
Well, yeah,
Oh,
that's why-
absolutely.
areas.
Yeah, right up there in Mariposa.
That's
Right.
right,
There's
Cathay
a town
Valley
up
up there
there.
in that area.
I
And
stayed
out
up
there by where you are. up
In
Bakersfield.
Springville, Springville had the big place.
They have places
And the
for
one
people to
at,
go.
up by Tehachapi, they
Yeah.
had those
Isolation.
TB places all over, above 1,000
Sanitariums.
feet. At 1,000 feet, the air was to be clean. At 1,000 feet, they would be above, and that's why they sent them. It was clean, cold, cool air.
Oh,
Always above 1,000 feet.
The Awana used to
The
have. them over
Awani,
here.
you see, yes,
Yes.
Awani was, and Springville is 1,000
Yeah.
feet, and they had the big one there. They had the one at Tehachapi. So they were all over, but they were always above 1,000 feet because the air was clean
Yeah.
and cool.
And Sarah and I overcame the TB without any medication or anything. We just got well.
Not even anybody knew we had it, you know, but every time I do a chest x-ray, when you're in school, your skin test always comes out positive, so you go have to get the x-ray, and I always have shown that
Oh,
I've
you
had
do? Your
either,
skin's positive,
either
Sarah?
tuberculosis
Your skin
or,
does.
or valley fever, one or the other, you know.
We all had that one time.
Yeah, I'm sure we all did, yes.
Well, I think that.
But I'm going back to Alma and the rubber guns. Let me
Yeah.
talk to you. That not only were Alma and I victims of the rubber guns,
Yes.
but we were also victims playing football. The boys played
Oh,
football
yeah.
over in the
I know.
Olson's yard, and it would, their
They would
field
make us-
always full of manure and stuff and
We called
dirty
that,
off.
we called that Turd Stadium.
Yes, Church Stadium. And Alma and I were always the centers.
Uh,
And Alma was always bigger than me, and you're long down like that. I'm just screaming, I'm not gonna play anymore, you know? And I wasn't very old, and I was little, and they'd get us across the street, we'd go over there and play in that manure field, and Alma would just beat up on me. She would just, not deliberately, I mean, that was her job. She was the center, and I was too. Poor Bob, I think, was on my side, Raymond and Alma, and they always won, and Bob, you know. And Tommy Maher, and maybe Frank, it would be guys from the neighborhood would show up
Oh,
down
yeah.
there, and maybe whoever, and we'd go play, and Alma and I always got stuck to be the centers.
I know.
Because we couldn't run and we couldn't catch the ball, we couldn't do any of that, so, hey, you could shift us the ball, so we learned how to hike the balls, hike the football to them. I remember that so
Well,
clearly.
do you remember that our father was very interested in wrestling at the time?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night, Raymond and I would kind of talk about, you know, do you think we're gonna get to go tonight? Maybe Daddy will take us
Take it
tonight.
to the wrestling again.
Hope we're gonna get to go to the wrestling matches at the American Legion Hall.
Right.
Oh boy, big time stuff.
That's right.
Anyway, he loved to watch Raymond and I and Lois wrestle.
Oh.
Bob, you take those two, you beat up on those two guys over there, okay? Raymond and Lois, take on Bob. It was always 2 against 3, 3 against 1.
Yeah.
I had to beat up on them or they beat up on me,
Yeah.
one or the other, all the time. It was so good. He'd sit there and watch us laugh, that's good, rolling around there, wrestling.
I don't know if that
I don't know
wrestling.
why Mother let that happen, I've never figured that out. There were a lot of things that probably were done.
I'm not sure she even knew it was taking
She
place.
probably never
No.
even
She
knew it
probably
happened.
take care of you guys, I have no idea.
That's probably true.
He was
That-
so dedicated to wrestling. My
Oh, my.
father, I don't understand it. It's a big swizzle, the whole thing is, but
What?
he was so dedicated to that. And as Bob says, we went to the American Legion to go to see the wrestling matches. And I can remember on one occasion we were there. And of course, these guys, the real performers, the wrestlers are.
Oh,
But
yes.
they get the crowd so cranked up.
Boy, you're not
And there
kidding.
was Mr. Zentner, you know, Zentner
yes.
had the automobile place, you know?
Right.
And he had a cane that he was walking with. And so he gets up there to the ring where these guys are wrestling, and he doesn't like this guy because he's doing whatever. He sticks his cane out there and grabs him by the leg like that and pull him down. Well, that guy saw what was happening. He went backward and then he kicked the cane. The cane would sail out over the crowd, you know, about head high. I don't know if it ever hit anybody, but it was the funniest thing I ever saw. But Mr. Zentner, the last time he did that with his cane.
I remember one time, they were wrestling, and one of the guys he didn't like
Yes,
was on the mat. He was bald-headed.
yes.
He reached up into the cigar and put it on his head.
Burn him.
My God, oh man, they were really mad that night.
On one occasion, we were all ready to go. Bob and I and then my father, we were gonna go to the wrestling matches. And I don't know if it was the old 49 Pontiac or whether it was that Ford that we had
Yeah,
that we were driving.
had the
But we,
Pontiac.
I think it may have been the Pontiac.
Yeah.
But we know we had a lot of cats around the place.
Oh,
Everybody
yes.
had cats. They
Oh,
loved the
yes.
cats.
Keep them
We
outside.
got into that car and our father sat down and the cat had gone to the bathroom where he was sitting. And he sat right in that bed. I tell you, we were, I can still hear him. He was so upset. We didn't get the wrestling matches that night before that cat, I'll tell you that. Never heard of that cat, no more of that beast.
And he could use the language.
Oh,
like-
yeah.
oh Lord, yes.
I mean. he
That was
could
one thing I said to
Swear you
myself when I was
believe
thinking about
swear
parent.
like that, and, you know, it was, but I don't remember ever going anyplace with him.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, you do?
Oh,
I
yes,
do.
I
Of
do.
courst.
Where did we,
I remember.
One of the
coming
first times I can ever remember is going to a place to eat. It was a restaurant, but it was really a family restaurant. We went to Fireball,
Oh my.
wow. I
to an
don't
Italian
remember that.
restaurant, which
I don't
was really a
remember
home over there. It was still family dinners.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I
We
don't.
went over there all of us went over there for family
Oh,
dinner, the whole,
oh.
but Grandma might not have been there, she might have been there too, I'm not sure. First restaurant I ever was in my life,
That's
I
right.
remember that.
Fireball.
Good up in Fireball.
My
That's
goodness.
quite a way.
We knew some people over there in
Well, he
Fireball.
went through dairies and so forth.
This might have been about the
Fine.
time that we had the hay baler at that time.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
probably
probably.
what
He
it
might have
was.
done a job over there sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He met some people, come over,
Yes.
we're gonna have dinner over there. Because we had the hay baler, remember? the
That's
hay
right,
baler?
yeah, but you were only about, then in the 6th grade or 7th grade.
No, it was more than that. When he was
Yeah.
driving the
I
tractor all
was,
the
I
time.
was
I know.
15. I was
15, okay.
And you were tying the,
Raymond,
Oh, Raymond was, yeah, dying the last string, the 5th, he was the 5th, it was the 5th of 5
Well,
string baler.
yeah, whatever, a number of things that we did while we were there.
yeah.
And, you know, those machines took somebody driving the tractor
That's right.
right,
and somebody operating what they called the Chinaman. That was the guy that our father was up on top. Because we had the ramp, the hay was
Right,
coming up on an
right.
apron
Came up with
Right.
a-
into the Chinaman, and then you had two fellows on the left and right hand side. They were poking wires and
That's right.
tying it. And one of the fellows was Stoney was the name of one of the
Yeah.
fellows.
Oh,
that
remember that name.
used to tie them, and then the wooden block would come out and back, and they'd have to put it up and the rest of it. But often I would poke wires
Right.
Poke the
sometimes,
wire.
and sometimes I'd be out in front where the apron was and load the hay to see the hay got up on the,
Did you
got
do
on the
that
ramp
too?
and came in. I did it one time and I really got sick. I strained my muscles terrible.
Oh,
I
were little.
I tell you, I had a terrible time on one occasion. Mother was very upset with me about that whole
I
thing.
think we always had a man out there in the front,
Bad option with
one of
that
his
one.
buddies.
Yeah, but I used to want to go all the time. You would go early in the morning, at
Oh,
4
God, I
o'clock in
used
the
to hate
morning or
that.
something.
That,
have to
mother
go out.
hated that too.
It was
She
always
did
in the
not like you
summertime.
going that
Yep.
early.
I can remember the year that I was on my 13th birthday.
Yes.
I was over there on
Very
21st
nice.
Street, we moved in there, we had hay baler.
Yes.
I think to myself, I'm 13 now, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna have to drive the tractor tomorrow. We start at 4 o'clock, wait a minute. As soon as the sun comes up,
Oh, I guess.
we gotta get out of there by 4:30.
Yes.
We're ready to go by 5:30, the sun will be up at 6. We'd work until noon. then it got too hot, we'd have to
Yeah.
stop and come
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
We did that for at least 5 days a week, every summer, for 2 summers anyway. or more.
What was the summer that we all did the almonds together? We all hauled the almonds for,
That was before then, we were still out there and
We
emptying
were-
up
we
the
were
That
lot.
was
young.
years before.
because we were
Several
all,
years
I
before
was young, I don't know how old I was, but I remember doing
Couldn't have been
that.
very old.
But-
Well, I thought we were on 21st Street, because I know I got so sick and mother didn't let me, I'd wanna go. I was so little. I'd get so sick going out there, mother would never let me go. I always had to stay home, and you guys went, but I remember sitting on the porch on 21st Street, so sick and crying because you guys all got to go to Auntie's and I didn't, and do the almonds, and I couldn't do that. So I know that at that time, but you might have done it the year before,
I
too,
don't
you know,
remember,
and when we were on the ranch.
So did we want to go on, is there anything else with?
Well, I
before we
think there's
get to
some
the next
interesting
picture?
things. When we lived on the ranch, I was not born until 33, and Alma was already just a baby. She moved there when she was 6 months old.
That's right.
One
that's
thing
what
we
the
did not
picture-
mention is that our birthdays, Sarah,
I know it. Yes, I was born on the 3rd of June, and I was presented to Bob as his birthday present.
here's my baby sister, what do I need that for?
I was born on his 6th
What's
birthday.
going on here?
Whatever, I didn't ask for a birthday present like this, I don't want a
Same
baby
birthday.
sister. So we have the same birthday.
I was almost, we were, at least me, I was almost born on my mother's birthday, because she, I think she
The
was
6th.
the 6th or the 7th.
That's right, she's born on the
Almost the
6th of
6th, can
June,
you imagine?
and I was born
And
on
our
the,
father was on the 7th or 8th, they were all in June,
yes.
yes.
23rd.
Yes.
This is
Yes,
the-
he's
yeah,
the 23rd or
yeah,
24th,
yeah,
something like
Something
that,
like
yes,
that,
of June.
yeah.
So everybody had those
Yeah.
June birthdays, you and me, and mother and daddy.
yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, no, that's, that's okay, but when I laugh about it, cause I think there's part of the things that you guys got to do on there, I don't know anything about. I was too young. My recollections of living on the farm was probably, I did, grandma and I were good friends. I remember going with grandma in her sewing room and spending a lot of time with her in the sewing room. It was quiet in there and I sort of liked that too, but she was always willing to talk. She was willing to deal with any of that stuff with me, and that she would keep sewing. There are other things that amazing with out there on the ranch that really bothered me most of all was I wasn't able to do a lot of things because I was little, and you guys got to do all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember always having a cat, but I also remember the dog Boots. And Boots had puppies. And I asked
Yes.
Lois the other day, what did Daddy do with those puppies all the time?
I wanna know.
And she said he took them to the farmers. The farmers wanted
They
those
sure did.
puppies.
Yeah.
They loved the Boots puppies.
He always told them what a good dog Boots was. And a good dog to have on a ranch, and good with kids, and a good ranch dog. And puppies went off to those farmers. So
Yeah.
that's what happened to Boots. I never wondered what happened. I have another question to ask. We had a wood stove,
Yeah,
and the
Right.
wood stove had to be going all the time because
Right.
also our hot water heater was based on the heat of that stove.
right.
Right.
And of course, we used to melt the crayons on that hot water
Yeah,
heater.
I know. The back of the
That, you could
stove.
smell that when they got it, the crayons were always melted on the back of that hot water heater, still remember that one. But I always wondered, where did the wood come from? How did we,
You know, Linton Street, I used to go split those things.
see, I
Bob
never
had to
know, I
chop-
wanted to
I
know
chopped
that.
that, it was already cut, sawed
Bob
it.
always did,
I went out there and split that, bring the wood in, big armload of wood.
Yes,
right.
How much you can carry when you're 7 or 8 years old, I don't know, but anyway, we'd go in there. But that's what, she was cooking on that too.
well, she cooked
Until
all
we
the
got,
time
until
on
we
that.
got kerosene.
Only if we had to get something special did we use the kerosene stove,
Yeah,
because we
Oh,
didn't
the
have
summer.
money to buy the
The
kerosene.
kerosene was expensive,
And
yes.
so I
Summer.
remember that grandma and mother were doing Christmas candy for Christmas on the big Christmas school party at Farmdale. And they made all these candies and everything were so good, and grandma was, and we used the kerosene stove for that. But we didn't get to eat the candy, that was to save. But they used the kerosene stove, and that very seldom did we use that. It was mostly used the wood stove. And in the summertime, we just ate a lot of cold salads, potato
don't you
salad.
remember we got the ice box we had instead of a refrigerator.
That's right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an ice box.
Yeah,
yes,
I remember
Had
that.
to change the water all the time because the water was down underneath the big
Yeah.
pan there to catch the water as it drains down
That's
off the ice.
that's
You
right.
have to empty that thing out,
Right.
come in and put it in. Somebody had to
Remember the
make
ice
it-
guy had come and deliver the ice in his truck with all the canvas,
Yeah.
the burlap sides that were
Yeah.
always wet and cold, and he'd bring that ice out to our place out there and give us the
And
ice.
you had to put a sign up as to how much
How you
ice
want.
How much
That's
you want.
exactly how much
Out on
ice
the
you
road.
wanted, that's right.
was out by the road.
That's how you did it.
And mother had to get the milk and get the cream out and get into that ice box in the mornings. And
Yeah.
because we were really got more money for cream than you did for the milk. And so the volume of cream was important,
They
and
paid
she
you by the
always
butterfly.
separated that out. She separated that out very
Butterfly.
early in the mornings and put that in the ice box
Yeah.
that we had there.
Yeah.
No refrigeration, and kept that cold, and always had to have ice for the milk.
We had
Always had to
the
have
ice man
ice.
would come by, there was the bread man would come by,
Yes,
and the vegetable
and the
man.
vegetable man.
They'd all come by to see us out at the ranch when we
That's
lived
right.
there. Mr. Stone was the bread man.
Really?
Joe Marino was the ice man.
Yes.
Yes, he
And
was.
I don't know
That's
who the vegetable man was, but the young fella. But
Yeah.
he'd come by with his fresh vegetables,
That's right.
and we'd go out and
How
mother
often
go out
would
and
he
take
come?
a look at them and see which ones she
Oh, every
wanted.
other
Every
day
day
or
or two?
No,
Every
no.
few-
But probably twice a week,
I thought you
two or
probably
three
twice a
times a
week.
week,
We
something
had
like
the
that.
meter man also. The meter man would come and read the meter, the electric.
An electric meter?
Yeah, we had, it was in on the porch. You open up the door, there's a little meter in there
Yes.
I'll be
for the
darned.
electricity.
But we didn't pay for water.
No,
No,
you
but
didn't
they
pay
had
for
windmill.
water.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the
Electricity.
well was someplace, the water was always, never, once in a while it was an issue. Not that we didn't have
It
it,
was
there
one.
may be
Well,
a
it was an
problem.
issue. The water was an
Was an
issue one
issue a
time.
lot,
Yes.
yes.
When the,
Because we found the water tasted kind of bad that summer.
Yeah,
Right.
terrible
Somebody
taste.
found there was a dead rat up there in
Yeah.
the water.
Right.
that
That
was,
was, what we had, we had to drain the whole damn tank.
That's right,
And somebody had to get to scrub that whole thing and sterilize it with Clorox
that's right,
before we could start filling it again.
that's
And
right.
he was, our father was the only one that was able to do it,
Right.
That's right.
all by himself. It really was a job he didn't like, and it was,
But
took him a long
now,
time. He
did
got
that
it all
happen
cleaned
on
up,
the
and he just
farm?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
believe.
On the
yeah.
farm, cause I remember the rat. It
Yeah.
happened
That rat
on the
was
farm.
there.
But we had to depend on the windmill. I remember near
Right.
the last summer we were there, Grandma had her garden and the windmill didn't pump.
Was not running.
Was
That's
not
right.
running, and we had to use buckets to get it out to her garden.
That's right.
So that
That's
it-
right.
I remember that we
That's
all,
right.
we all had to do that. We all had to get together because she had that garden and we didn't want it to die.
That's right.
And the way to do it was a bucket at a time.
That's right, carry the buckets out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
that, I remember that, so, but as far as any other responsibility, I don't think that Sarah and I don't even remember having to make my bed, but I'm sure I did.
Well,
I
you
know
guys-
slept with
you guys
grandma,
were
so
little.
Yes,
You know, I
you can
was-
see how
I
little we
was
really
only
were.
10.
Well,
You know,
No.
I think, you know, when I think about it, and I was talking about Alma and Mother, there was a picture of Mother holding Alma and the horse. You talked about the horse, oh Nellie?
Nellie the horse.
Nellie the
Beautiful.
horse. I have never been able to make a contact with Nellie. Nellie and I were not around. But Nellie, tell us about the horse, Nellie.
If you want to zoom in on this picture here, Rod, that occasion was an Easter vacation, if I remember right,
Okay,
because our cousins were Phyllis and Skeeter McConnell were there. We
okay,
decided we're gonna go ride on Nellie the horse. So we all got out there, except for Alma was held up by Mother on the other side here.
yeah,
Sarah was not even there yet,
right,
but we were all on the horse. And Phyllis was the first, she was the oldest.
Yeah,
She got to hold the reins.
yeah.
Behind her was Skeeter, and then Lois, and then me, and then Raymond.
Yeah.
Raymond was taken to the rear end.
He's
All
the
right,
rear
boy.
end down there
The
with that
last
horse.
guy in line,
He
barely
kept
hanging
falling
on.
off, yes.
We decided we got on the horse, because we had, she'd always come up next to this fence. Nellie knew where the loading dock was.
Okay.
We could climb up and jump over and get on her.
Yeah.
We did this one day, she got out with the horse, came out and we started walking down the road with us, you know. We were about a block away from Homer, so maybe a little bit more than that, not much more. Phyllis, loosen the rein, drop the reins.
Yes. She dropped
Nobody
the
could
reins.
get off because we're this high off the horse.
And we couldn't get off.
Couldn't get off, what are we gonna do? Well, we didn't have to worry, Daddy knew what to do. She
Turn
turned
around
around and
and
walked right back to the loading dock,
Yes.
so we all got right off. She knew exactly how to take care of us all.
Yeah.
It was so
You're so
funny.
It was home.
And that horse, she was so smart.
Oh, God, yes.
That's why this picture there, that's the only picture we have of this
I
on that
think
horse.
it is, that's
Yeah.
right.
Well, Ray was the one that always was the last, he was the
Last,
small,
yeah.
but he'd fall off, you know, he'd
I
slide
can
off
see
the back.
why.
We'd have to pull him back up over onto the horse again, you know? Then ask him to hang on to the tail, that's what we said.
Hang on the tail.
Well,
Hang
what
on to
other
the tail.
adventures did you have with Nellie?
What?
What other adventures did you have with Nellie?
Well, except I told you about the one, I did mention when I went to school one day,
No.
when we first moved out there, I just said, hey, I've got my own horse. I'm gonna be a cowboy, that's all there is to it, you know. I was 5, not going to school yet. I didn't go to kindergarten, but I decided, this one kid lived down the street from us, called on the highway about a mile or so away. Used to come roaring past our house, galloping his horse to school every day. What was it you guys doing?
So
Susan.
Susan was
Susan.
his last name, David, I
Yeah.
think.
Susan. So I decided, what the heck, I'm gonna ride my horse down to the school one day. I don't know how I did it, I got a bridle on that horse. It may have already been on, I have no idea, but anyway, I'm going down to school. So I rode this, we didn't have a saddle, always bareback,
Yes.
never had a
You
saddle.
can see that.
Rode that horse down there and I no more got on the property of the school. The kids were outside playing. Got to see this horse, I'm really excited. This kid Susan came and saw me. What are you doing with that horse? Get out of there with that horse. Finally, this big 8-year-old guy, I mean, he was 7th or 8th year, probably 10 years older than me, scared the heck out of me. Man, I'd get out of there right away. I never tried that again. That was the only time I ever took that horse to school, you know.
But Sid's mother didn't miss you.
She didn't miss me. I have no idea.
What happened?
But I had some other experiences with Nellie, because I told you this guy's story earlier about,
Yeah.
we were, I guess I was probably 8. And I read in the paper, somebody told me we're gonna have a big fairgrounds parade, announcing the fair opening. We had a parade down 17th Street. And they always had horses. All these parades around always have horses. I'm gonna ride in that parade. So I told Grandma about this, I told my mother, I said, well, I don't know, Bob, I don't know how we're gonna get down there. Well, that's okay. Grandma decided she was gonna make shafts for me.
Oh, right, yes.
And that was perfect. Cowboy, every cowboy had to have shafts.
Yes.
And shafts are always leather. Well, of course, leather was out of the question, but what did she have? She said, so thick, heavy, black felt, wool felt. She made me some shafts with these things. Well, if you can think of how they're black, of course.
Yes.
I'm down there in September. Oh, horrible hot things, you know. But that was okay. I was riding in the parade.
Well, how did you
How did I
get
get
there?
down the parade?
Yeah.
People down the street, a Portuguese family down there. How they got the word, I don't know, but found out Bob wanted to go to the parade. Bob, you ride with us in a wagon. You took Nellie on the back, and she'll follow us in the with the reins into town. We'll take you down to the parade. So we got down the parade. I got out of there, took her right down to where we were warming up. I got off, I had a saddle, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Where we got the saddle, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, it was an old thing, kind of beat up.
Yes.
Somebody's probably ready to throw it away. But Dad got it, we used that, he gave us that saddle. I got there in my line, I lined up with some guy I'd never seen before. The two of us riding through on the parade, you know. And very long day, because I left the house early in the morning. The parade started at probably 1 o'clock or 12, you know. Of course, the band was out in front, somewhere up in front of us,
Right.
you know. We're one of the last people coming through in the parade, you know.
Yeah.
I get to the very end, Mama was there meeting us, Raymond was there also, and Lois was there. They met me down at the end of the parade route.
Yeah.
Oh, how am I gonna get home? They asked me, I don't care, I don't wanna ride this horse anymore, I'm all through riding today, no more for me. Well, Mother said, well, somebody's gonna have to take the horse home. Lois, you're gonna have to ride the horse home,
Yes.
that's all there is to it.
They told me.
You're gonna ride the horse home, I said, I'm sorry, but Lois
That's
said,
it.
No
I
way,
had to.
I'm 13, no way, I'm not gonna ride that horse.
In my best dress.
That's right. All my friends are gonna see me, they're gonna
And they
laugh like
did.
heck at me. No
And they
way am
did.
I gonna do this.
Uh,
But you did you?
Yes, I did. Mother said, you have to, Lois. There's no one else that can take her home. And I had to
Maybe it was
get on
too
the horse
small.
and ride her home.
Oh, my goodness.
Slowly. Nellie was not a fast
Oh,
romper.
no, it's a walk.
It was very slow.
No trots for
It's
now.
a long time.
3 miles out of town with the horse walking in the hot sun in September. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
In your best dress.
In my best dress, and I met every soul I had ever known in my life.
All her friends would wave to her as they.
Yes. Hi. And I thought that was very funny.
Oh, God.
Yes.
So you got home with Nellie?
Yep. I got
No,
it.
gosh, you stopped at the loading port and off you got.
Yes, she knew
Oh, yeah.
exactly where to
You
go
wouldn't
to
have
get,
had to do
so I could
anything
get
with
off.
her, just
Yes.
hold the reins and she knew how to come home.
She did.
Yeah, just hold the reins.
We
and
could
she
go
knew
all,
how to
we
come
could
home.
go around underneath that horse, do anything we want to underneath that horse, the legs around, run back, tag each other underneath the legs, she never moves a soul.
Never said.
That's what Raymond said. He remembers running through her legs and playing games. Everybody
Yeah.
says a word. She never said a word to you.
She was so gentle.
You know, one of the interesting things I think was we were growing up as kids, we got a telephone in the house. one
Oh,
time.
yes.
Yes.
You can't
Party line.
imagine how exciting that telephone was.
Yes.
There were always 2 or 3 other people on the same telephone line that
Oh,
we
yeah.
were on too. You
That's
see?
right. That's right.
You could listen to other people's conversations from time to time if you
Talk
wanted.
about getting information.
Boy, I tell you, that was a marvelous thing, that telephone.
Yeah.
You'd have
Party
to,
lines.
you'd have to pick it up and the operator, tell the operator what you wanted, what number you wanted. I
Yeah.
think our phone number was 722, I think.
That's right, it was.
It was
What
that what it
really?
was?
722.
722, that was our number.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tom Mayer had one of his end of the line, I don't know what
I
his
think
number
they, I
was.
think they were on the same line.
Yes.
Same line.
It was built,
Somebody
yeah.
else was.
Yeah.
But I can always remember that telephone, what a wonderful thing it was to have a phone in the house. And then a radio. Oh my God, we got a radio one time.
Grandma bought that Philco.
That
Right.
Philco, that round.
And
Yeah.
that radio, I can remember, was such a marvelous thing. I know our father enjoyed that radio as much as we
Yes.
did, because
Me too.
that was the period of time when Joe Louis was doing some
Oh,
boxing.
yes.
And how exciting it was. When we came, I remember one time, we sat around the radio, listening to Joe Louis boxing. I think it was Max Schmeling, I believe, something
Or
like
Max
that.
Bear, one of
Max
those
Bear,
guys.
something like that.
Yes.
And boy, I tell you, was that exciting to listen to it on the
Championship.
radio.
15-round championship.
Yep, our father was
Big ring
deep into that.
boxing.
He loved that kind of thing. He thought that was great.
Yeah.
But mother liked it as well during the day
Yeah.
because she'd have marvelous soap operas. Ma Perkins and Easy Aces and some of those old programs, you know.
I remember
Marvelous,
doing
marvelous
that.
program.
I
But
remember,
as a kid, I thought it was Tom Mix. We used to
Tom
listen to
Mix.
Tom Mix and Dick Tracy
Oh, yes.
and The Shadow. We used to hear that on the radio as kids all the time. And I can remember, Bob used to save Ralston cereal box tops.
Ladies.
And he used to save those.
Save those
Okay.
things.
So he could get some kind of a gift.
I
He'd
did.
save them and pack them together and send them off and you'd get a gift of some
You know what
kind.
I got?
What'd you
I
get?
got a Timex revolver.
Tom Mix
A
really.
wooden one. It was wooden, it was black revolver. It was a holster
Yeah.
and all, you know. Black, beautiful thing. I loved it. Every day, when I sent away for that thing, almost every day I'd beat the mailman out to our mailbox, waiting for my Timex gun to come.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna
Oh my gosh.
be- It was probably only a week, but it seemed like an eternity to me.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
At least a month, you know, before I got this thing to come in.
Oh, yeah.
Thrilled to death with that big revolver,
Yeah.
all my own.
I thought that was always great.
mother
That's something.
listened to the radio. I even remember her listening to the World Series on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure.
I still lots of times prefer baseball on the radio. I still
Oh, I do.
like listening to that, but I remember her doing that. But she didn't have a lot of other sports things that she was interested in. She liked her soap operas. She did enjoy
I don't know how
them.
much soap opera
I
she did.
didn't think she ever.
She did not
Oh,
like
yeah,
Bob,
she
she did
listened.
not like Bob Perkins, I know that.
Well,
No.
she liked Lorenzo Jones and my,
Easy Aces.
yeah.
And
she-
Fibber McGee and Molly, she
yeah,
liked
she
those.
Oh, yeah,
liked
Fibber
those,
McGee
yeah.
and Molly Shaw.
But the one other,
Those
one other
ladies.
one she did like was One Man's Family.
One
That
man.
was on
One
Sunday
Man's Family
night.
came on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Mother was not crazy about that one, she didn't like that family situation. It was not, for her way, these people do all, everything was wrong the way they were doing it.
That's
Not matching
interesting.
our family at all.
Yeah,
How could that
that's
be
right.
one man's family?
That's right.
Maybe that man's family, but ours.
Not
Ours
ours.
is completely different, you know.
That's
She
interesting.
did not like that program
But
at
the
all.
radio was really a gift for us kids, I tell you,
Oh,
it was
yes.
marvelous to have a radio at the house.
Oh,
It
yeah.
Oh,
was
yeah.
just a great
So-
thing to have, brought us into.
I thought about the telephone. I had a different, I was so little. And I managed to get a chair once up to that phone because it fascinated me. There was all, you know, it was a when I go back to school, and Alan and I walk down Mission from school, I'd hear all the buzzing on the telephone lines, and I'd always ask what that buzzing is. They'd say, that's people talking on the lines, you know? That just, well, the telephone fascinated me, but I knew I couldn't use it because I didn't know what to do with it, I was so little. But I took a pair of scissors and I cut my hair while I was pretending to talk on the telephone. And I cut my hair and I just did a mess out of the front of my hair. I never forget it, because it was always sort of long, and I just made a mess out. But that was a fun thing. The telephone was a good thing for me, because I could go hide in front of it and cut my hair.
The telephone.
Oh, Mother didn't like that one real
You
much.
go
She
look at the
bought
next
me out.
picture.
Yeah, the
What,
next picture.
What year did you get the telephone and the radio? Do you remember?
Oh, probably, oh gosh, so that was,
35, 36,
1935 and 36, probably.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't
Something like that.
remember us without a
But this
radio.
picture here, Rod, that's one of the pictures when we were all, that's the youngest picture we have, probably all of us together.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it is.
Of all five of
We had,
us.
so we had a sad experience with pictures and photographs in our family. Because at the time we moved out of the place from the ranch, we moved out and came to the house on 21st Street, which we were living in at that time. Mother had forgotten she had some photographs left behind. She remembered them when she got the day we were moving, ran back as quick as she could, back out there. The lady who
Mrs.
owned the property,
Jones.
Mrs. Jones, was standing there with a little bonfire in front of her, burning all of our pictures
Burned them
that were
all.
left.
So that we
Yes,
just
we're
didn't
lucky
have
to
much,
have
we
what we
don't
have.
have
We
much.
do not
Lucky
have any
to
pictures
have
of
what we
little
have.
kids
Yeah.
at
No,
all.
that's right.
That's one of the youngest
That's-
I've ever seen.
I have not, I've never
seen
seen
that
that
one.
one until
No.
recently.
Now Lois, is that the one you have?
Yeah, that's Lois's picture.
I know that when Grandma came home from that experience, she was crying. She said
It was
all of
all
her
her
pictures, all of her family
That's right.
pictures,
Yeah.
That's
all
right.
of the ones from
That's
Santa
right.
Cruz,
All
and
that was gone.
all the ones that she dearly loved of her family, the lady burned. Mrs. Jones burned everything she could that morning before we got back over there. Grandma did salvage a few pictures,
Mhm.
but nothing
Not very many.
many.
No, because she liked to take her
Anyhow.
pictures. Grandma liked to take pictures.
Yes, she did.
Oh, she had her camera,
She
that
has a
little
little
box,
box,
Kodak,
box, yeah.
that
Took
Kodak
pictures.
book
That's
box
right.
that she had, that
It was
Kodak.
something that she
was a
did.
Kodak. Mhm.
So that
Kodak
picture,
box.
I never have seen that picture of the five of us that were, it was in the summer, I assume.
It should
Well, we're
be.
barefoot, it's the only picture we have that we don't have shoes. We did have shoes. And all the other pictures we have shoes on, because I think we're getting ready to go to church.
Of course it was summertime.
Yes, those others were
It was
some,
right in
because we're in
front of the-
bathing
In
suits
front
on.
of the tank house that was there.
Yes.
Right for the tank house.
Right there, that's it.
I'm trying to picture.
Where
yeah.
Bob stood down the.
Raymond and I have lots of experiences on that, in that tank house
Oh,
a
yeah.
long time ago,
Gosh.
you know.
Going back to the pictures, did they ever say why she burned the
Oh,
pictures?
she just did, now, I may be wrong, but she was waiting for us to move. She was out there at the farm, waiting for us to move. She wanted us out of there. And the moment we all took off, she got in there, and it was a vindictive thing to do.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
she was not a kind person under any
She
circumstances.
wanted us out.
Remember she had that one house that we weren't allowed to go into, that one shed out there towards the front that we weren't supposed to go in because that had all her stuff in it?
Oh.
Oh, I
remember
remember,
that.
yeah, I
Where was
remember.
that at?
And on the farm, and they're the ones closest to the road. We had 2 or 3 of those old sheds that were out there by our playhouse. And there was one by the playhouse, just one, by the playhouse.
Oh,
And it was out there, that had all her stuff in it.
because she had bought the place, didn't she? Or did she
Oh,
own
well,
it?
she owned it to
owned it.
begin
She
with,
owned it
she owned it
already.
always, yeah,
Right.
she owned it.
Because she lived there, according to Lois's telling us, when her husband passed away, she could not take care of the place herself. She moved in with her daughter, somewhere up around Manteca or somewhere out of the area.
Okay,
We were to pay her $25 a month for her property.
Yeah.
Well, she became a caretaker, that was it. I think she
Well, it's okay.
made her money or did take care of elderly people or whatever.
she
I
did.
don't even know.
oh,
She
Yeah.
herself, we thought, was very old. I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know
She
how
was
old
probably
she
50 or
but,
something.
That's
yeah.
right, we thought she was
Probably
very old.
50.
Yes.
Yes.
But anyway, so that was the picture. Then the next one, we were all ready to go to church, I'm sure.
We're gonna go to Sunday
Special-
school.
Oh, Sunday school.
Sunday school. We were not, and I was telling Bob, we always came home and changed our clothes, right?
Always.
From
Always.
School and from, I still do that. I still sometimes go home and change what I, and get on some old slippers or whatever I get on, if I've gone somewhere during the day. Because we always had certain dresses that Grandma made that we wore for,
Right.
Yeah,
places, Sunday school, and the white shoes, I'm sure we didn't wear much more except to Sunday school and back home, yeah.
Well, I think it was hard to get 5 kids clean all at one time, at the same time, you know, clean enough to
farm.
go someplace out on that farm.
Farm,
How do you get
yeah.
all 5 of us clean at one time to go someplace? So you didn't do it real often.
No, that was one time we did do that. It took Mother and Grandma quite a while to get you and Alma and themselves ready after they got me ready and Bob and Ray. Bob and Ray and I went outside and we were told to go out and wait for them. Well, we went out to wait for them. And I was probably about 11. And I loved to pretend I was somebody really famous that sang a lot, like Betty Grable, but Jeanette McDonald.
Oh,
Right,
yes,
right.
that's who it was, yeah.
And the two boys liked to pretend that they were station men. We know years ago, when
The
you
service
drove up
station.
to a gas station, they
Yeah.
filled
You
your
got
tank
service,
for you.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, they were,
wash the windows.
washed the windows, did the cleaning, whatever they
That's
could
right,
do.
that's right.
Clean the tires, fix up. So that's what the boys were playing on
Oh
the
my
outside of the
gosh.
car. And I was on the inside of the car pretending to be Jeanette McDonald while we were waiting for these other people to come, because it took them so long to get everything
Sure.
ready. And I didn't notice it, and I didn't know anyway. Bob and Ray were also busy filling the tank. They were doing all kinds of things with the car.
Washing the windows.
Finally, Grandma came out with Mother and Sarah and Alma. They got in the car, and Grandma started. The car wouldn't start, and it wouldn't start, and it wouldn't start. Here we were all dressed and taken hours to get us all ready. Grandma said we couldn't imagine what had happened. Why wouldn't it go? And then she looks at the tank says full. Well, it wasn't full. It was only half
Water in it.
full.
Oh
How
my
could it get?
gosh.
Did you boys put something in the Yeah. They had been the gas station attendant and had put water in the
Filled it with
gas.
water, filled the gas.
They filled it with water. While we were waiting, we
Oh, goodness, well, that,
I heard about
Our
that.
father didn't take that, as a laugh.
Lightly.
No, I guess
He
not.
did not think that was very funny.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
he had to figure out how to get that water out.
Well, he had
That's
to,
right.
had
The
to
gas
drain that
already
gas
had
tank.
to
Pump it out somehow.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Like a
right.
mess.
we heard a lot of words then.
Yes, there were.
Some lines that
That
we
was
haven't
a
heard
shocker for
recently, yes.
everybody in the
Yes.
whole family.
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
I
That
remember
was,
when we had the cows there, we had a little dairy course. We
yes.
had what they called the cooler,
Yes.
was the milk after it was, came out of the cows. We took it and cooled it in a separate room off to one side.
Right.
Okay? My father knew some people down the road that were wine drinkers and wine makers.
Oh, okay.
Every once in a while, he'd come over with a full gallon
Yeah,
of red wine.
that's right.
Right.
He would never brought it in the house. Mother would not allow it in the
Right.
house. No
Yeah.
way in hell.
That's right.
So he kept it out there in the cooler room.
Yeah.
Raymond and I saw it there one day. Let's try that stuff, see what it tastes like. Okay?
Father's wine.
Father's wine, we pull off the cork, pour a little bit in a cup or something, and taste it. Oh, God, horrible stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Raymond and I both tasted it. Of course, the level of the pot went from the top, went down.
Oh, yeah.
What are we gonna do? Get the water. We put water.
That water, thank God for
We got some water,
Yes, more water
a
again.
little water.
We'll fill it back up again.
Yeah, he didn't discover
He
that.
didn't?
He raised hell with us about that for a week. Kids don't ever go buy my wine again, you know, leave it alone. I can't do anything, but then you guys into everything all the time. Ranting and raving, don't carry on.
I don't know where he got his wine, but
I do.
he was, beer and wine were something he really liked his beer. There's no
Oh, yes.
question about
Yeah,
that.
he
He really
looked
did.
Unfortunately.
And
That was
wine,
his
there was a fellow
downfall.
by the name of Mr. Buck or something, was there ever name?
Lois,
Well,
you
the,
remember?
no, the, one of the places was, no, I can't remember, but yeah, she lived down on 27th Street from you. She worked with me. Her husband worked at the post office.
Lumi Barbone.
Her
Oh,
parents,
yeah,
her
parents.
dad
Yes.
lived way out there.
Oh, was that right?
And he provided the old man with the wine.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
And I
Yes.
did find some
Yeah.
in the.
I don't know what they were,
garage when we
Italian,
lived on
Ray?
21st
Was she
Street.
Italian, Lumi? I mean,
They're Portuguese, I think, Lois.
Uh,
I think
Probably
they were
that's
Italian.
right,
or
Portuguese.
They were
I may have been.
Portuguese.
They were
I
Portuguese.
think
Yeah.
she
But
was.
I remember finding the wine things in the back.
Yeah, in the back.
In the
Yeah.
garage on 21st Street.
yeah,
That was his downfall.
he
But
really
you need to
used
say
to,
something about that, because that really affected our whole family
Did.
in a
Yeah.
large degree.
What was
That's
that?
right.
his
In fact,
drinking,
our father drank.
drank.
Oh,
wow.
He did.
That was
It was his
the,
downfall.
yeah, that was the thing. If he could have something to drink, he was happy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
if he didn't have anything to drink, he was not happy.
No.
That's right.
One of the reasons my grandmother really felt like was because he was very afraid to go to, the dentist, and he had very bad teeth as he
Yeah,
got
yeah,
older.
Why?
And he had I don't know
You know why?
why.
Remember when his chew,
His chew,
Copenhagen. You guys had a
tobacco chew,
That's right.
that's
The
right.
chew of Copenhagen up against
All
his
the
teeth,
time.
in his lip, all the time.
Yeah.
Spitting, when
Yes.
you want to look at spitting this damn Copenhagen, used horrible stuff.
Right.
It was a regular bar of it, wasn't it? Sometimes,
No,
sometime
no,
in
yeah.
can.
It was around.
Yeah,
You can always
sometime
see
in
that
can.
in the print in the back
Yes,
of this.
yeah,
Yeah,
picture.
you can
pen.
see the print.
You can see the print, it's always
Oh,
in
yeah.
Copenhagen.
So he couldn't go to.
Now, what
this
did that do? Rot his teeth out?
Sure.
Sure it did.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Well, anyway, he
gum
was-
too.
I'm
So now,
surprised he didn't have lung or lip
lip
cancer.
cancer, that's
From
right.
skin cancer, but he didn't apparently have
Never
it.
did.
But he didn't have rotten teeth, for sure. Go ahead, I'm
He had
sorry.
no, he just had bad teeth, and drinking seemed to help him feel better.
Well, that
Maybe
could
so.
be, well, yes.
But
you
that
know,
wasn't the excuse, the real reason. He was just an alcoholic, I guess. Alma feels he was an
Well,
alcoholic.
He would disappear. He would disappear on days at a time, maybe weeks. Then he would show up as if nothing happened.
I know, and mother was, she did this, but I remember that, mother, this is serious. That mother would not leave Sarah and I at home
Mm.
without grandma being there. If grandma wasn't going to be there, she took us with her.
Really?
She wasn't
Yeah.
sure when our father was gonna come home. And
Yeah.
what condition he was in. I
That's
still
right.
remember when we lived on 27th Street and I could still hear him coming in at night.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
were on 27th Street from 45 to 47, 46 a
Yeah.
year, weren't we? 44, summer of 44 till the summer of 46, and he left then.
yeah, that's right, because I was gone. I was,
Yeah, you're,
Yeah.
I was
You
in
were
the
gone,
6th grade.
Bob.
He
You
did
were
finally
gone.
get a job that paid,
Yeah.
Yes.
but he never brought the money home.
Oh, mother told me that. He never,
No, he never paid.
mother supported us from the time she
All the
started to
time.
teach.
She supported the family.
She supported
He
the
did
family.
not,
She and
ever,
grandma.
after that.
No, never did.
that's strange. I wonder why he did that.
I don't know, he lived at the Star Club.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And-
Well, there's another spot, I'll never forget, Alma and I were with him one time. And over on J Street and Los Banos Highway, I
Yeah,
think there was one of those streets there, and he had a place he always went to, there were a bunch of eucalyptus trees around there, and he left Alma and me in the car and brought us an orange drink. And he stayed inside and partied and had his liquor, his
Yeah,
beer or
sure.
whatever he was getting, and Alma and I sat in that car while he stayed in that
Oh,
bar.
yeah.
And
You
I'll
always did
never,
that.
ever forget it. I had that orange drink was pretty good, but I'll remember the eucalyptus trees that were around. I remember it was getting later, and we were there for in my time frame, it was a long time, you know.
might have been an hour or so.
It could have been an hour or
Because
two,
he used to-
whatever.
But I know the regular stop when we were delivering milk,
Right.
Yes.
Raymond and I in the truck, we'd always stop at the Star Hotel.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Raymond and I wait in the car while he went and had a beer.
Or two,
What, baby, well, I don't know.
because I remember somebody calling mother and telling her that he said Everett's driving the truck drunk again.
Really?
yes.
That one I didn't hear. I
She
can't
said
figure
she
out.
heard
What?
from someone, they called mother and said
Oh.
Everett's driving the truck with the boys drunk again, and he did.
Oh, my.
And
Oh, I
mother
never
was
heard
shaking.
that. I
never
I
heard
never
that.
heard
Well,
that.
I never noticed that.
I
If it
remember
didn't
her
go that
telling
way,
me
I
that,
would be
not
surprised.
telling me, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard her
I-
say
I
that to
never-
grandma.
I never,
And she was,
Sure.
yeah, it never occurred to me.
Where was the Star?
oh, on
On
16th
16th
Street.
That's
Street.
where Val and I were then, yes.
16th
that's-
Street?
Yeah,
Oh, it had to be
16th and
16th.
K.
That's all there was on 16th Street, that's all there was.
Well,
Yes.
that was the main highway number 99 went right through that thing.
yes.
Yeah.
That was the impression Merced made on everybody that drove through there on the valley.
I remember
That
that.
lived this area. Merced, the 16th Street and Merced, what an impression they got.
Isn't
In
that the
this city,
city?
my
Yeah.
God.
And
That's right.
Modesto was exactly the same.
They were all like a Turlock's the same darn
That's
way.
right, that was right,
The Skid Row was always out there right on the main highway,
that's right.
no matter where you went.
But I think, it was, I don't know whether, because both Annie and Arthur were drinkers, and
Yeah.
Art stopped because his wife said one or the other. But Annie Edna did all of her years, she drank, and she lived to be 92, 93.
Yeah.
But they did, and I don't know, of course, I have a different picture because of my background working with our son, that they did have the alcoholic gene, wherever it came from, and none of us got it. None of us got it. We all were able to whatever, Mother, I don't know that, I think Mother said for the first 10 years of her marriage, our father did not drink.
Really?
First 10 years, that's Lois, Mother told me that first 10 years.
I never heard that
Well,
before.
that she and I talked about that, and she told me that. And then whatever happened, all the 5 kids came along, and then the depression, then the things that happened on the farm, and he wasn't able to handle things.
I don't think
But
he was drinking an awful lot when we were on the farm. He did beer, I know,
No,
for sure.
I don't think, I think you're right, Ray,
But I think
Bob.
what really shut him down was the fact that we lost the whole farm and everything.
Oh, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's
And then,
exactly right.
So now that it was hard to take from then
Yeah.
on.
He lost the orchards, he lost the fig, they lost
He
everything.
lost the hay bale.
That's right,
And he
everything.
had to come into
He
town.
lost the new tractor he got.
Yeah,
That's
That's
He
right.
right.
lost the new
Lost that
tractor,
too.
remember,
Yeah.
and he
Yes.
lost it.
Yep.
It seemed to him he was just losing everything.
Yeah.
From his home life at the beginning, everything just seemed to disintegrate for him.
And
Yeah.
when we had to move into town, I don't think that was something he wanted to do, and he worked for that Jewish man.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
And he did the trucks with him and the Weaver, and he worked for the Weavers.
The Jewish man
Yeah.
out there in Livingston or somewhere like that, brought those horses to our house, remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, God. Raymond and I were thrilled to death. Horses, oh my God, we're getting horses all of our own.
Yeah,
Well, along with that, of course, he had the hay baler there next to the house. And we had a great big field in the back, 40
Yes.
acres or something
Yes,
out there,
all the way to the
which
railroad
all
track.
volunteer
Yeah.
grass like this, you know. Well, somehow we got the horses hitched up there, they were workhorses, what they were.
right.
He went out and mowed all that, we left it like there, you know. Well, Raymond and I saw he was gone. That was one of his disappearance acts, because he left the old Pontiac out the middle of the field
That's right.
for about 2 days. Raymond and I saw it sitting, he said, I told Raymond, I'm gonna drive that back to the house. Raymond said, you can't drive, Bob. I can't. Mom has been showing me how to drive, I know how to drive. So I got, she had been showing me a little bit, because I was 15 or
Yeah,
just close
right.
to it, you know. I got to start the car up. Hey, Raymond was riding with me. We drove around. I got into the driveway, but I couldn't stop the car. I knew how to stop it. You know, I knew how to do the brakes, but how to turn it off.
Oh, my gosh.
And rather than thinking, Mother came up, she came up, turned the switch off to turn it off. But that was my first spring driving by myself.
Yeah.
But besides that, at the one time, Raymond and I knew how to hitch up a team.
Right.
Because Uncle Bob had showed me, because he used to do that on his farm.
But Uncle Bob's,
Uncle
Yes.
Bob's farm.
Yes.
We got the team out there. We had a hay rake.
yes.
Raymond, let's rake this field. Okay, we're getting ready for the hay bale to come. We know how to make windrows.
Yes.
We hitched the team up one day and got out there with those, and Raymond and I went down and we raked that whole place, made a nice bit of windrows, ready to go. When Father came back, what the hell do you kids do? It's all, we raked this, ready to go, man, the hay bale. So we ran a hay bale, we did a hay bale or two, ran the whole thing out. He couldn't believe it. You guys did that on your own?
Yeah.
Sure, we know how to do that kind of stuff, you know?
Isn't that something?
He was 13, I think it was 15, but those same
Amazing.
horses, we're gonna ride these horses, that's all there was to it.
Oh, that's right, the issue.
He warned us a couple times, you stay away from those horses. One of them is really pretty skittish,
Yeah,
hard to catch. That horse is bad for you. You guys say, well, that was too much issue for us. I could not stay away from that horse. So I told this story, where it's going. We were out there one evening about 5 o'clock in the afternoon or so. Let's ride the horse after dinner, you
I
know.
don't know what happened.
We went out there and I caught the horse, had the bridle on him, you know, leaning back, get a saddle on him. Raymond's up behind the horse. All of a sudden, kicks like that, hits Raymond right in the chest.
Yep.
Knocks my ass over 10, right in the chest. Boy, I scared me to death on me. I ran, you get mama. Raymond's been kicked by the horse, Raymond's been kicked by the horse. Quick, get him in. And she ran out and looked, oh my God. She put him in the hospital, in the car, took him down to the hospital right down here, which is County Hospital.
Yes,
You
yeah,
know,
Who
right.
got him in the car?
Mama got him.
Mother got him in the car and took him.
I probably was helping, you know, get him in there. I was crying the whole time. Couldn't believe what's going on.
My
You
God.
were gone, you.
I know, I was
You were
gone.
gone by that time.
I heard about it.
Yes. I could not, and she stayed there with Raymond all
Yeah.
night.
She thought he was gonna die.
Well, yeah, he came
Well,
pretty
the
close to
next
it.
morning,
yeah.
the doctor came in to look at Raymond that night. He came in the next morning, Lorena said, huh, I didn't think you were gonna be here this morning.
yeah.
Well, we have to do something about this.
I spent about 2 weeks in the hospital.
did.
That way.
You
did.
stay absolutely quiet.
That's
You
right.
told Raymond, don't you ever move. Stay exactly where you are. Breathe, and that, we're not even gonna feed you very, you're gonna have liquids, that's it. You stay where you are. You have a punctured lung, which we have to take care of. Definitely, we're gonna move it around to where we keep the bleeding down,
Right.
got a punctured lung, broken rib, couple of broken ribs in there. You survived that. Man, you've had
It
more,
was
you've
amazing,
had.
it was amazing, you know, I can remember that
Could've
the
killed
doctor, Dennis, was the doctor
That's
at
right.
the time.
Oh,
He was
Yes,
a
he
child's
was.
doctor, and
Yeah.
mother had she has great respect for Dr. Dennis. But as a
Yeah,
child,
2 minutes.
as a child, it was, you know, I wanted to move, I couldn't, but,
that's
he
right.
was very demanding about it, and
Stay
I,
there
There
where you are.
wasn't much to you, Ray. You
No.
were always kind of
She
thin.
scared you to death.
so
He was
I was
always
ready- he's ready for us to stop.
Oh, I wanna
Probably.
stop?
I think.
We only have 1 minute of tape left. So.
Well, one more, if we got one more minute, I got one quick one.
Yes.
Okay.
Raymond had experience with bees too.
Oh, well,
When
yeah,
he was 6, he turned over a
No,
beehive
he
which was out
only
there.
about 3.
younger than that, I think, Bob. but
Oh my God.
Yeah, very 2 or 3.
Picked out 200 or 300 bees off him at
Jesus.
the hospital.
I guess they
Could've
did.
killed him there also.
Stuck his head right in the hive.
I don't even remember
He
that.
fell into a
No
beehive.
idea about that.
Turned it over, Mr. Bowles' bees out
Oh,
there.
Mr. at Uncle Bob's.
Uncle Bob's house.
Yes,
That's right.
Mr. Bowles and the bees.
I
That's
don't
right.
remember that incident at all, Lois.
Can you remember that?
No,
No, he was only
Mother
2 or 3. Mother had, we were all visiting with Auntie and having a good chat. And all of a sudden, Mother, where's Raymond? Where's Raymond? Oh, well, he's gone outside. Well, then she started looking in a real hurry. Ooh, found him screaming, being bitten by these hundreds of bees.
We're all through.
She couldn't
That was
believe it.
That was the story. That Ray was always getting into
Yeah.
something, though. He was always getting into something. He would